everyone, it's Gio and welcome back to This Week in Overwatch, the final week of Stage 4. So this week kicked off with the LA Gladiators versus the Shanghai Dragons. Gladiators beat the Shanghai Dragons 4-0, which left Shanghai just one more opportunity this week to actually get that big W under their belt. New York lost to Boston this week 3-1, but did beat Houston 3-2, which was an incredibly close game. I'd recommend going back and watching it if you haven't already. Seoul fans were holding out for a really good series against the LA Gladiators this week, however they ended up losing 3-1, which just turned out to be a massive disaster for Seoul. Seoul's hopes and dreams of making it into the season playoffs have, in fact, been slashed. Dallas beat the LA Valiant 3-1, which means they just had to wait for Philadelphia Fusion's series against the London Spitfire to see if they would be making it into the stage playoffs. And thanks to Gesture punting an ulting boombox off the map at the end, Dallas did in fact make it into the stage playoffs, Philadelphia missing out on their 4-0 to London. And in the Shanghai versus Shock series, we finally saw IDDQT get some playtime. Shock ended up winning the series 4-0, meaning that Shanghai went the entire season 0-40. In competitive Overwatch news, new rules have come in for contenders and the Overwatch League, the biggest of which being the introduction of two-way players, which will be introduced in the 2019 Overwatch League season. Two-way players are players owned by an organization who are allowed to play in both the Overwatch League team and the contenders team. However, there are quite a few rules governing how this can be done. They can only play in 2 Overwatch League matches per stage and cannot play in an Overwatch League match and a contenders match in the same week. If they were to play too many Overwatch League matches or too many contenders matches, then that means that they have to stick to those teams. Any organization is allowed up to 4 two-way players, and no more than 2 two-way players can play in the same game at any one time. Other rule changes include allowing players to negotiate up to 3-year contracts, as well as Overwatch League teams having to now have a minimum of 8 players in any roster, up from the current 6. DPS player Rascal, formerly of the London Spitfire and the Dallas Fuel, has been signed to NRG Esports' new contenders roster. Rascal, who was released from the Dallas Fuel in April for supposedly not fitting in with the team, will move back to the US to be based in DC with NRG Esports. After the new rules being introduced, there is much speculation as to whether Rascal will be used as a two-way player for NRG, or whether they're saving him to use in their Overwatch League team, the San Francisco Shock. Recently released DPS player from the London Spitfire Hureg has been picked up by the Korean Overwatch team Runaway. The manager of Runaway, Flauvin, announced the acquisition on Twitch this week. According to esports blogger Aaron Brown, Hureg said he will work very hard at Runaway and that he's very grateful to the team for suggesting him first. And that's the big news in competitive Overwatch this week. Tonight we will have the Stage 4 playoffs, and then soon after we will have the season playoffs, bringing an end to Season 1 of the Overwatch League. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Gio. This has been This Week in Overwatch. You stay classy, San Diego.